Hey everybody, it's Matty here with Altcoin Buzz. Hope you're doing well. Hope your week is off to a great start. We're going to take a look at a lot of fun news today. We're taking a look at this article by Licia in a moment where you can buy property with cryptocurrency and make real estate acquisitions with Ripple. We're going to take a look at a hospital internationally where you can check yourself in for cryptocurrency trading addiction. So that's something that I might want to take down the number of that service. Maybe a couple of you guys out there as well. International news out of Russia, opinions on blockchain, ICO news out of South Korea. And we're going to finish off looking at the highlights of a report released by a major consulting firm. So that's at the tail end of this report. But first off, article by Licia, you can now buy property with Ripple XRP. So buying property with cryptocurrency has now become easier after Propy, an American real estate site that enables, quote, property transactions secured through blockchain, added Ripple onto the list of its crypto payment options. Very progressive. So the company announced this in a tweet. It said, great news, we added XRP as a cryptocurrency accepted at Propy, starting with a rare investment opportunity to acquire one of the last large pieces of city land in Silicon Valley. So now they have Bitcoin, they have Ethereum, and XRP, Ripple, which are accepted. And this is an exclusive offer on property. So what are they selling? Well, it's a 27-acre plot of land in Silicon Valley. It costs $16 million, so it's not exactly cheap. The site says its location, view, and community make it a rare opportunity for buyers who want to build their roots in one of the most preferred places to live in the country. Cryptocurrency investors who are looking to diversify their portfolio, this offering also accepts Bitcoin and Ether as well as the US dollar. So for the measly price of $16 million, you can acquire this land. That's going to cost you about 2,200 Bitcoin right now, about 30,000 Ethereum, or 27.8 thousand rather XRP. So it's interesting to see, this is a trend, a development, right? So the CEO of Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, tweeted a little while ago, quote, over the last few months, I've spoken with actual banks and actual payment providers. They are indeed planning to use XRapid, our XRP liquidity product, in a serious way. And you guys may remember a few days ago, we covered that feature on the Ellen DeGeneres show where there was an exchange using Ripple of $4 million that took place instantaneously. So that was an interesting live demo as well. And currently, XRP is trading at 58 cents. There has been a little bit of a bounce in the market since the last time we had a news segment on Altcoin Buzz on the YouTube channel. So hopefully your portfolios are looking a little bit better, but we're going to link to the original content here. So there is the address. There's the piece of land, $16 million. You can take a look at all the details on the Propy site. Here's a look at the tweet that was referred to in that article. And of course, there's some other news as well, and I'm going to link to this in the description, but Ripple's also talking about its other connections, its other partnerships. So there was a connection to Walmart through MoneyGram, and that's something that will likely grow and blossom as well in the months and years ahead. So do take a look at that. All right. Now, I'm saying this lightheartedly, but it is a serious issue. So there's a hospital that's beginning to treat crypto addiction trading, and it's highlighted here in an article by Garrett. So this is a Scottish hospital, and it begins treating individuals who are addicted to cryptocurrency trading. This is, I don't know how foreign this will sound to you or how odd this will sound to you, but there's so many new vices that are emerging in the world, right? And there's some countries that are further ahead of the West in some of these treatment methodologies and some of the therapeutic answers. Like a lot of the Asian countries, South Korea, for example, regards addiction, and it expands that definition to include things like video gaming. So they have a pretty robust infrastructure when it comes to therapy around video gaming addiction. And I guess it makes sense that you could become addicted to crypto trading. This logically could be the next step. So Castle Craig Hospital, located in West Linton, Scotland, has started treating individuals who claim they are addicted to trading cryptocurrencies. Hospital staff are treating these patients like they would patients who are addicted to gambling. Quote, the high-risk, fluctuating cryptocurrency market appeals to the problem gambler. It provides excitement and an escape from reality. Bitcoin, for example, has been heavily traded and huge gains and losses were made. It's a classic bubble situation, end quote, says the hospital's gambling therapist, Christopher Byrne. All right, you may or may not agree with that, but it's an interesting perspective. It's important to realize that comparing crypto trading to gambling is valid, as prices can fluctuate very quickly and thus provide an emotional response. The high risk, high reward quality of the current market conditions attracts many people to the crypto space. What do you guys think about this? Obviously, we talked about it the other day, but if you're in a situation where you're really losing more than you can afford, that's not a good situation. You want to invest in expendable money for the most part. Hopefully, this is not something that would affect any of you soldiers in the altcoin buzz army. But look, if ever you do feel like it's out of control or you feel like an addiction is brewing, maybe you don't live in Scotland, but do be sure to reach out to, your support network and professional medical trained services if necessary, if it goes beyond that. We want you guys all to be psychologically safe. So do check this out. Leave an article comment for Garrett and check out this original piece of reporting. Addicted to trading, Scottish hospital treats cryptocurrency addiction. Wow. In other news, blockchain technology remains immature. Russian CB believes. I think she's a central banker. So article by Lysia. Olga Skorobogatova, first deputy governor of the Central Bank of the Russian Federation, has emphasized during the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum that blockchain technology requires further development and is not yet used on an industrial scale, reports Prime. So she is quoted as saying, "The world has not yet created a resolution which would allow utilizing blockchain, not just when it comes to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, but also on an industrial scale. This largely has to do with the fact that the technology remains immature, which is true, and it needs to be improved both security and scale-wise." So that's her opinion. I think it's valid. I mean, to say that there are improvements to be made, that security has to be amped up in certain respects, I can understand what she's saying. I don't disagree with it. She also believes that businesses have not yet fully realized what blockchain advantages are, and hence the slow adoption. Definitely believe that as well. Quote, "Technology for the sake of technology is pointless. For instance, we understand why we need this business case for electronic bills and electronic letters of credit. But the reasons behind switching to Ripple and Corda remain largely unclear. This is why I believe that in 2018, all countries, not just Russia, will try and understand how they can apply their technology and spread its adoption." So her statements regarding not fully understanding the advantages of blockchain and how it can be applied come off as rather bizarre, given that the market players have already understood and even showed how it can be applied. And examples come to mind of Goldman Sachs, of the other major institutional powerhouses, but even smaller individuals such as the FedEx CEO, Fred Smith, if you remember him. Remember, he said that it's time for businesses to either adopt blockchain or die out. And then Alicia also points out some very valid examples here. HSBC and ING, some big banks out there that have used blockchain technology to carry out a financial transaction, which took about 24 hours instead of 5 to 10 days in some cases. You'll also perhaps remember, if you've been with us for a while, an article that we put out back in February where Vladimir Putin, who's the president of the Russian Federation, so he was talking about his views on blockchain and talking about how the country, referring to Russia, needs blockchain technology and cannot fall behind. So even from the very top brass, you have this awareness that, one way or another, yes, there are perhaps still some problems and still some inefficiencies or immaturity in the technology, but one way or another, eventually, this is a big deal, and it's in our national best interest to get on top of it and to research it and to develop it. So you can see some of the original reporting here in the original Russian. We're going to link to all of this. I referred to the article by Altcoin Buzz by Sebastian back in February. So, Mr. Putin, we need blockchain technology. We're going to link to that in the description. You can check it out as well. And the original reporting by Prime is also here. In other international news, South Korea may lift ICO ban, article by Garrett. The backlash to South Korea's blanket ICO ban continues as the National Assembly officially proposes legislation for domestic ICOs. So there's been all of this back and forth, and you remember that perhaps the South Korean National Assembly banned all initial coin offerings in September of 2017. And then we reported earlier this month, you had the representative Hong Yui-rak, who's a member of the current ruling government in South Korea. He began writing a bill which would aim to legalize the launching of domestic ICOs, and that was an attempt to reverse this ban from back in September. So he's quoted as saying, "The bill is aimed at legalizing ICOs under the government's supervision. The primary goal of the legislation is helping remove uncertainties facing blockchain-related businesses." So this is pretty breaking news, but the National Assembly just yesterday officially proposed the legalization of domestic ICOs. According to Business Korea, the National Assembly wants to allow domestic ICOs to run their offerings, and those ICOs acknowledge the country's investor protection provisions. So this is a pretty big, we're not there yet. And as pointed out here, an article by Garrett, it remains to be seen what's going to happen. But this is a major move that's now been initiated, and we'll see one way or another how the momentum moves. But we need to form a task force, quote here, including private experts in order to improve transparency of cryptocurrency trading and establish a healthy trade order. The administration also needs to consider setting up a committee and building governance systems at its level in a bid to systematically make blockchain policy and effectively provide industrial support. We will also establish a legal basis for cryptocurrency trading, including permission of ICOs through the National Assembly Standing Committee. This is pretty seismic, potentially, if they are successful. So this is just the introduction of the bill, if I'm understanding. But if this is something that is successful and they're able to fully reverse that ICO ban, they're able to institute some regulatory oversight, make sure everything is fine and dandy and legal, that could be a very big shift for South Korea. So do be sure to leave an article for Garrett. Let us know your thoughts below. Are you a soldier out of South Korea? We'll be happy to hear your perspective on this. And do be sure to check out the article here by Business Korea. National Assembly calls for measures to allow ICOs. In other news, and rounding out our newscast today, Deloitte predicts that the impact of blockchain will be huge. Article by Licia. So Deloitte, a UK incorporated multinational professional services network, right? They're in consulting, they're in finance, have published a report in which it claims that blockchain is a, quote, new tech on the block, while its impact could be huge. The report concerns, quote, planning for blockchain in the retail and consumer packaged good industries, and states that, quote, while we fully expect blockchain technology to achieve widespread mainstream adoption in these sectors sooner rather than later, we firmly believe that long-term sustainable success is only possible through careful planning and prioritization of work programs. So this is certainly a long-term report, and there's all kinds of things they say. They're very bullish in the long term. They do point out a couple of perhaps imperfections or inefficiencies in the short term, but they're definitely looking to the horizon. And if you look ahead here, the report also cites figures, Gartner, a market research firm that establishes that blockchain's business value add will grow to $176 billion by 2025 and exceed $3.1 trillion by 2030. Now, they're not talking about the crypto market. They're talking about businesses outside the crypto market will have a value add of $176 billion. And that'll be in the trillions, in the multiple trillions by 2030. So Deloitte's vision of utilizing blockchain further enhances the current widespread belief that the technology is essential. And of course, we're reminded again by Fred Smith, FedEx CEO, who said that businesses should either adopt blockchain or die out. So, forward-looking report by Deloitte. We're going to link to the report, of course, in the description. It's about 24 pages long. You can take a look here at the table of contents, what they're all about, and of course, it's subjective. There's a little bit of opinion in here, but what's nice is that, as with most publications by Deloitte and other consulting firms, it's well backed in terms of objective statistics, market research, and so there's a lot of good, solid, stable research that went into the opinions that are expressed here in this piece. So do be sure to check it out. It's an interesting read, and of course, we're going to link to it in the description below. And besides that, guys, the last thing is just to remind you to follow us on Altcoin Buzz News on Twitter, because we alert you to the latest and all the important things that are going on in the world of crypto, including our original reporting, including other stuff that's happening nationally, internationally, all over the world. So do be sure to follow Altcoin Buzz News on Twitter. And guys, if you like this video, leave it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel because we put out new content every day. Take care for now, soldiers. I wish you happy trading and see you again soon.